I'm sure that previously you have seen something like this and asked yourself, why should I worry about declaring my variables and function arguments like this? Well, this is called static typing, and today we are going to be discussing whether you should use it or not. First of all, super quickly, let's actually define what static typing is, because maybe you have seen this previously but you don't really know like the definition of static typing. So the definition is like a circular definition. It is a typing system that basically has many advantages. So the first advantage is the fact that it allows GDScript to detect errors without even running the code. So for example, in this line over here, if there would be some kind of problem, for example, if here we define this score as a string, okay, and here we passed false, okay, Godot will detect over there an error, okay, and wouldn't allow us to run the code. Right away, it would be marked as an error, okay? We will see all this in much more detail actually than inside of Godot, but well, this is for you to have a general understanding of static typing. Then the second advantage is the fact that it locks the variable type. Basically, this score variable will always be an integer, okay? 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. It is not going to be able to convert into a string, boolean, or any other variable type. It will always stay the same. Because indeed in Godot, for example, if we didn't have here static typing, we could here, for example, define score 0, and on ready, once again, if we haven't static typed the variable, we would be able to change its type to a string, a boolean, or whatever. Then the third point is that it improves. Firstly, the auto-completion, we will see this more in Godot, and also it improves the overall performance because beforehand, Godot knows every single type of the variable. In this case, it's alive. It already knows that it is a boolean, so it doesn't have to make extra calculations. Here Godot always knows that this is an integer, and the same thing with function parameters. And also it knows beforehand that, for example, this function won't return any value, as well as this one. Also, it makes the code clearer, okay, because for example, if we take a look at here, okay, yes, score will always be an integer, is alive will always be a boolean, so it makes everything a little bit simpler and clearer. And finally, thanks to this, that the variable type can't be changed, it is much easier to also debug the code and find any error that you could be facing. Then, where static typing can be used? So first of all, in variables, as we have seen, then also in constants declarations, in functions, basically in the in functions themselves, then also in the actual parameters of the functions, and then in the general return types, these things that we saw about void in the previous slide. So let me go once again to here. So for example, here we saw in variables over here, in constants, in the return types of variables, of functions, I'm sorry, and also in parameters of functions. Now, in order to see this even better, I have prepared these super simple scripts. You will also notice here another one, infer types, but this is something that we will get to in a couple of minutes. So I basically have here these scripts, no static typing, and this other one that is a static typing. So it is the exact same script, just that this one has everything static typed, and well, this one doesn't have any kind of static typing. And as you can see, the way in which this is used is super simple. I will declare here a brand new variable in both no static typing and static typing, and also a brand new function, so that we see in action how they are declared. But well, it is quite simple, as you can see. So for example, in no static typing, what you normally do is, okay, var, and then I will put here the variable name, for example, character, I will put it something like character name, okay, and I will just make it equal to, let's say, Steve, okay, so this would be correct. And in static typing, what you would do is var character name, okay, and with a colon over here, you would put string and then equal to Steve. And also here the S must be in capital letter, okay. By the way, if you also wanted, you could declare these variables using the actual naming convention of Godot. That would be snake case, basically like this, if you want to. Okay, this is not a video on naming conventions, but well, if you actually want to see a real example, maybe this would be better. So I will quickly rename all this. So once again, we can see here the main difference. Now, what I want you to note is this thing of being able to, why does it make debug much easier? Because for example here, if I declare this variable as a string and here I passed a value, let's say true, as you can see, I am getting here an error, cannot assign a value of type bool as string. Because here we have already defined that this variable will always be a string, and here I can put literally any kind of data that I wanted, true, false, an integer, whatever. Okay, so this is why it makes debugging much easier. And also, quite similarly, if we wanted to, for example, here in Ready, change the variable type, for example, character name equal true, okay, once again here we are receiving the error beforehand, and it is the exact same error, okay, we can't convert a bool into a string. And well, once again here, this could start off being a string, and here in the Ready, for example, I will say, okay, character name will be equal to true. And for example, I could add here a print, so I could print out character name before changing the type and after changing the type. And I will also just super quickly create here a node to run this script. So no static typing, I will assign it over here. Okay, there we go. And as you can see here, I was able to indeed change the variable type. Previously, at the very beginning, it was just Steve, and then its value was true, okay, after I changed it. So this was something possible because the variable wasn't static type. And by the way, this warning over here basically has to do with delta that is not being used. I will just underscore all of this delta to avoid having that warning. And basically like this is how you make your code clearer, more performant, and easier to debug. I believe that this is the most important thing and the most basics about static typing, but we can also go the extra mile. Now, if you also remember, I told you that this also improves auto-completion in some cases. So for example, here creates a brand new class called character. Basically, well, for just having the example, I created here a couple of variables and a couple of functions. I will go to a static typing script, and I will create a brand new function that, let's say that we'll try to set up character. Okay, and this would get a parameter called character. Okay, and without static typing, you will basically declare the function exactly like this. And what happens is that, for example, let's say that for the setup of the player, for some reason I want to change is running to true. So of course I would be able to technically do that if I just go ahead and copy here the variable name. So I will copy it over here, paste it. It's running, and I could set it to true, for example. Yes, indeed this would work, but as you saw, I'm getting no auto-completion here. I don't see the other variables, functions, etc. So this is when static typing actually becomes pretty handy, because you can also static type this character. Okay, so here I am calling this parameter character, but you could call it like anything that you wanted, and it is of type character. It is of the type of this class. So here I've got my character, and here I would be able to say, okay, character dot, and here I get access to literally everything. I have access to these things that have f and parentheses are functions. So I have access to collect item, jump, and move. Okay, and then the other basic functions, of course. So indeed we have collect item, jump, move. Collect item, jump, move, and of course we also got access to every single variable. Is running, is jumping, is running, jump, and lives and speed. So I would be able to go here to is running, set this to true, character dot move, for example, and it is much easier. Okay, and obviously here a good practice would be to put void there. Because also talking about void over here, we're putting here actually void because this means that the function is not returning anything. Basically, if we put here return and we return here, for example, the exact same character, we would be receiving an error because a void function cannot return a value. So instead, what we should do over here, quite similar to here, would be to put character, because this is going to return an object of type character. Do you want another example? For example, func, I will actually create it. No, let's create it over here. Func get speed, get player speed, for example. And this will receive once again the character, okay, with static typing to make everything a little bit handier. And the speed is of type int, okay? So I will return an integer. And what I will do is that I will store here in a variable player speed, and this is going to be equal to character dot speed. So I'm just storing it as a variable, and then I will return it, okay? So quite simple here, the code that we are doing. We get the character, then I access its speed, I store this value into a variable, and then I return this value. And this is correct because player speed is an integer, and I'm also telling here Godot that this is an integer, what should be returned. And if I put here, for example, string, this is going to return an error because I'm telling Godot this should return a string, but actually here player speed is going to be an integer. Or well, here actually, for example, here we are telling Godot to return a string, but here we are doing an addition of numbers. So of course this is not going to be able to run, and it is actually marked here in the editor. That's the biggest advantage. And lastly, I want to tell you about infer types. Basically, if you write a colon and skip the variable or constant type, Godot will try to infer its type. So it's basically saving some lines of code, or well, some words inside of the line of code. You can use this, or you can directly use like static typing and statically type all your variables and constants, but well, this is also like even a handier way of declaring your variables and constants. So the final question is, should you use static typing, infer types, etc.? I believe that there's no reason why not, because as we have seen, it has just too many advantages, and it's also super easy to implement. So it's not that you have to learn something completely new or anything like that. It is something quite learnable in just a couple of hours. So at the end, it is just your choice, but I really encourage you to start using it because of the two reasons above. It is super easy to start using it, and it does have a lot of advantages. Lastly, if you are actually going to be using static typing, what I really recommend you do is that you go to editor settings, and over here on text editor completion, basically you have to scroll down a little bit, you turn on type hints. Okay, by default in the latest Godot versions this should be on by default, but anyway, just make sure that that is on. And for example, when you create any function, as you can see, it is going to automatically autocomplete this static typing. And for example, let's see the new process Zelda, that it even autocompletes the parameter of the function with the corresponding type. So if this video has been helpful, consider subscribing to the channel in order to learn more about Godot. See you in the next one, and bye bye.